Hi, this is Cindy Gross with Befriending Dragons, and I've been going to some more live events lately, and I'm getting questions about the dragons that I hand out. So when you meet me at an event, you may be handed one of these little dragons. I'm going to use a bigger one just so you can see it a little bit better. And people say, well, what does that mean? What do I do with the dragon? And what does it, where did it come from? Where did you come up with that name? So one thing I want to say is that when you start about thinking using the dragon that I've given you, or whatever you have on your desk or in your room that you could repurpose for this, is to think about something that you can't figure out how to get past a roadblock in your life. You can't figure out what your options might be. You feel like you have to go down one particular path. So take your dragon, close your eyes, get your destination that you want to get to, whether it's a feeling, a particular action that needs to be done, whatever it might be, and get that firmly in your mind. Take the dragon, repoint it another direction, open your eyes, and then look at where the dragon is looking and see what happens, what opens up for you, what new perspectives, what new framing you might have, those kinds of things. So and when we talk about dragons, it's a common term in some sorts of some of the psychology and coaching. The way you learn that, they'll talk about your demons, your dragons, your inner fears, instincts, hopes, dreams. Those are all different terms. But I came up with that before I learned anything about coaching. And that was back when I was first diagnosed with breast cancer. And my mom had died from breast cancer when I was 28. And she'd actually had it twice. And the first time, everything seemed to be fine. And then she, for reasons unknown, and it did not metastasize, got breast cancer again and had a very short time to live after that. So it was very confusing for me. It was a time where there was a lot of turmoil. There was a lot of things I didn't know how to process, and pretty much shut it down and put it away. And so 20 years later, when I was in my 40s, around the same age as my mom when she got her first breast cancer diagnosis, the one that they were able to take care of, I had a lump, and they did a biopsy. And when the doctor called, I just felt a sense of relief when he told me that I did have breast cancer. And it took me a while to process that and figure out what that meant. So in this case, the dragon was that I had assumed that, just like my mom, that I would die from breast cancer. And I had not consciously thought that. It wasn't something I had spent any time thinking about, because my well-trained trauma responses from much earlier in my life had told me that when something bad is happening, forget about it, don't pay attention to it, certainly don't talk about it. So that sense of relief, as I was working through that, I realized that that was about the dragon inside of me, the dragon that had always assumed, been afraid of, the idea of getting cancer, and that it would inevitably lead to bad outcomes. And when the doctor said, you have breast cancer, but don't worry, it'll be gone in 6 weeks, all in one breath, no pause, so that I could feel that sense of things will be okay. It was not relief about the second half, it was the relief that, yes, I did have cancer. And so helping process that and move that into relief of the second part of, I was going to be like the 99% of people who are diagnosed with stage one in situ breast cancer, and have a really high survival rate. And that goes against what the media tells us, what a lot of our fears are. So I do encourage everyone in this Breast Cancer Awareness Month to go get the screenings that are appropriate for your age, your gender, whatever other criteria there are for whatever diagnostics may be relevant to you. So breast cancer screening, prostate cancer screenings, colon cancer screenings, all of those kinds of things, because the sooner they catch it, the more likely that they will have treatment options that will work and that will be less invasive. So I really want you to do that. And going back to the Befriending Dragons theme, as I was starting to tell my friends about what was going on, and they were incredibly supportive and there for me throughout this whole process, uh, I started talking about it in terms of befriending dragons, and it was not a conscious thing. It took me a couple weeks to work out the wording, but it just started happening. And I realized that that's what I was doing at work. So around that same time, I was helping people move from SQL Server on premises into SQL Server in the cloud. I was helping people move from transactional SQL Server database systems only into what a lot of times the scary dragon was, that they were going to have to move everything to big data. They would lose their skill sets. They would potentially lose their jobs. They would lose their expertise and going back to being a beginner, and helping people understand how big data was an add-on, that you still had to have the transactional systems, and helping people understand how to choose between them. That was also Befriending Dragons. And going back to the cloud, a lot of people that were migrating things into the cloud. Again, it was you get to choose what's happening. You get to choose the parts of administrating the system or writing code relevant to the system that you want to continue, and you can still do a lot of those things in the cloud. So what you have control over changes, but you actually, in many cases, get to concentrate more on the things you really do like. So again, Befriending Dragons, where the dragon is all of your fears about your expertise, your job, who you're going to work with, your coworkers. You know, you might have some coworkers that were very specifically doing something that was taken away when things moved to the cloud, or when some particular project moved into a big data realm. And you would be worried about other people besides yourself as well. So again, that's all Befriending Dragons. And as I started going to coach training during the early part of COVID, I started hearing things where I was internally translating that into dragon terminology as well. So I continued with the name Befriending Dragons as I started my own leadership coaching business for women in tech. And so now, as I'm coaching people, often we'll find that thing, that assumption you've made, or that framing that you have around something that makes it sound like you only have one path forward. And sometimes it's as simple as stepping back and going, okay, what's my dragon? How do I listen differently to that hope, that dream, that fear, that instinct, and use it in a way that helps me move forward? So you're not getting rid of the fear. You're not mindlessly following the dream in a way that doesn't actually get you there. You're able to reframe it or befriend it and make it useful to get you where you want to go, so that you can have the life that you want to have. So that's the story of Befriending Dragons. I would love to talk to you. My goal is to help women in tech navigate work culture with confidence. So for a lot of people, that is, if you yourself are a woman or a non-binary person in tech, I can help you learn to navigate. If you manage or work with women in tech and you want to know how you can be better at leading other people in tech, I'd also like to talk to you. And you can go to befriendingdragons.com. And on every page, there are buttons for either, sign up for my newsletter, start, just hearing a little bit about what I'm doing. At the bottom, you can go down and click on the YouTube link, and that will take you to some of the videos like this one. And you can also choose to join a goal setting call. And that's just a short call where we'll go through and help you find one thing that you don't quite know how to get to. And we'll start with clarity of where you truly want to go in something that can be wrapped up in an actionable thing where you are thinking about the Befriending Dragons perspective. So I'd absolutely love to talk to you. I'd love to have you introduce me to someone that you think might be interested in talking to me as well. Reach out, do a LinkedIn introduction with me and the person you want to introduce me to, or refer people, ask them to sign up to my newsletter. So thank you very much for your support, and I look forward to talking with you.